So the adventure begins. I've parked my car not far from Upper Booth. I must be honest, trying to find a parking space here was like trying to find a winning lottery ticket. I knew it was a popular spot, but I didn't realise it was going to be quite this busy. So I spent quite a while driving around. Finally found a little lay-by. Sort of parked on a 16% gradient. So hopefully my car will still be there in the morning. I won't have rolled down to the bottom of the hill and end up in the stream. Fingers crossed. Well, hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. 15 minutes after the last frame and I'm in the same place because I decided to take the wrong turn. Hopefully it's not a sign of things to come. I've now picked up the right route, heading for Jacob's Ladder. So let's hopefully see the right scenery start to unfold. Pretty much near the top and also in the clouds. As you can see, conditions aren't too bad. It could be a lot wetter. I reckon this is usually a stream, but I think this takes dry January to a new level. No water in it whatsoever. So here we go. I've made it to a place I think is called the Woolpacks. It is a rather impressive rock formation, and it kind of appeared out of the gloom a bit like a spaceship. It's very otherworldly up here in this weather, but kind of adds to the effect. It's really, really atmospheric and amazing. Really, really wild. This is the sort of area, if I do decide to pitch up, I'm going to pitch around this sort of area, just because those rocks are going to offer quite a bit of protection from the wind, hopefully. So yeah, all is good at the moment. My only little issue is the fact that I've still got about 1.5 litres of water, but all of the stream beds that were marked, all of the streams marked on the maps, they're all dry, just because there's been so little rain for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I was planning to fill up here, and well, I'm going to keep searching. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to ration it and see how we go. So I'm still up at the Woolpacks, and in fact, I've just had to sit down to give my back a bit of a break from carrying that backpack. I tell you, that's been hard work, lugging it all the way up here. Good work for the body, that's for sure. But yeah, taking a break, and yeah, got to break out of the wind as well, because it is still quite blowy when you're exposed to it. But yeah, it's just gone 3 o'clock now, and I am really thinking about stopping up here. It's just one of those things. I am kind of filled with excitement and fear as well, because I've camped out before. I've done it with Louise when we stopped at the Bothy in the Cambrian Mountains, but I've never really been sort of in a place so remote on my own before. So yeah, I think this is quite normal to feel this way. But I am starting to run out of time, and the issue is, like, where I am, it's amazing. There's not even a breath of wind. I'm sheltered by this huge rock behind me, as you can see. But yeah, the issue is that I can't find any flat land. It's sort of all tussocky, sort of boggy land. There's quite a lot of peat as well. So I'm just going to keep searching around for the next 20 minutes or so in the hope that I might find somewhere. If I don't, then I think I'm probably going to have to start heading down and just bail, because yeah, I don't want to be sleeping out in the open tonight. It's probably going to get quite cold. So yeah, 20 minutes to find somewhere. Fingers crossed. I better get moving. So I've searched around. It's just gone past 3, and I think I may have found a pitch. It's probably the best I'm going to find. Not brilliant, but if I scan around, it's pretty flat. That isn't rock, you can see. It's actually sort of quite soft, and yeah, but it's still quite blowy, as you can probably hear. But it's the right side of the hill, so the wind is pushing on the other side. And the rocks up there and that hillside, they do keep me tepid. So here we go, after a fair fair bit of wrestling, a couple of swear words, and well, about half an hour of my time, I finally got the tent up. Not the greatest pitch in the world, I have to be honest, but there wasn't an awful lot of time. The main thing is, it's up and I've got a bit of shelter for the night. But I have to say, as isolated as this spot is, I do actually have a neighbour, a lovely girl called Vanessa from Kent. She's come even further than I have, and she's a bit of a camping pro, and she actually gave me a hand putting the tent up, which was really helpful in the wind. You can probably still hear it a little bit. It is supposed to die down later, but who knows? I mean, they only forecast winds of 20 miles an hour earlier, and it was definitely stronger than that. So there's just no way of knowing what it's going to do. But really, really pleased to finally be here and to be to be pitched up. And also, I think it's really, really nice having sort of Vanessa just up there. Because I don't feel quite so isolated. And yeah, I think we're going to have a little bit of a drink later. I'll probably come and see her tent as well in a minute. So yeah, should be a nice evening. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, enjoying the rest of the light while it's here. It has just gone 5 o'clock, so yeah, the days are definitely getting longer. Another chap actually, just you can see just up there, another camper. So yeah, it seems like it's a really, really popular spot. But the great thing is you can sort of pitch far enough away to have your own little slice of, like, I don't know, slice of peace and quiet. But it's good knowing there are some other people around as well. But yeah, it really looks like we're sort of in another world here. That is actually the valley down there, but it's just, well, it's just a cloud. So I popped out to stretch the legs for a bit, and I've just been back at the tent now for about 15 minutes. I actually decided to go and pay my neighbour a visit, Vanessa, who's literally about 3 minutes walk. And we had a good chat for about 30 minutes, and it was just amazing because the more we chatted, the more we realised actually we had in common. It's weird when you meet somebody who's a little bit like that, and actually she's like me, she's a primary school teacher, so it was good to meet somebody as equally mad as me. And what was even more amazing was the fact that she also decided this year to reduce her hours as well. So it seems like COVID-19 gave everyone a lot of time to think about their lives and actually take stock. And it seems that she did the same. And yeah, she's a bit like me. She loves nothing more than just heading off into the wild, off the beaten track for a couple of days to enjoy some wild camping or just bothy stays. So yeah, really, really nice chat, talking about teaching and travelling, etc., etc. She was telling me actually that she normally, when she wild camps, she normally gets a pretty early night. So she's just doing her dinner now, and then she's going to hit the sack. So I actually decided to go for a little bit more of a walk, and I bumped into another wild camper. His name was Jason, the guy from Liverpool. And yeah, he's up. He's a little bit older, that guy. And actually, normally he said that he camps sometimes goes with his kids, sometimes with his wife. But this time, actually, he's just having a night away. So he said he'd had a really, really hard week at work, and he just fancied a night away just for a bit of peace and quiet, which you'll definitely get here. So really, really nice chatting to him as well. And I think, as I mentioned before, it's actually, for me, with this being my first sort of wild camp solo, it's actually really, really reassuring knowing that there's, well, not one now, but actually 2 other people not too far away. I'm sure I'm not going to have any difficulties at all. Tent seems pretty solid. It's not actually that windy at the moment. But yeah, if anything really bad was to happen, I've got somebody nearby. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, I've realised since I've been back at the tent, a bit of a light bulb moment. And that was that I think I have to be one of the world's worst faffers. Since I've been back, actually, I was planning to get everything set up for dinner, and all I've literally done is just move things from one side of the tent to the other. It's all very tiny, but I've not really achieved anything. So hopefully in the next part of the video, it will hopefully be me cooking. I hope this time that my gas canister actually works. So the last time I tried to use one was up in the North Pennines in the bothy there, and it let me down. So I'm really crossing my fingers and my toes that I'm not going to be eating cold food. Sadly couldn't film the jet boil actually working its magic because, well, it was being really hard work and wasn't really showing much of its magic. Any sign of wind, and that's it. It just went out. So I managed to find a place in the end that was pretty sheltered, but I just couldn't be bothered to film it. It's just too much faff, and it's getting on a bit now. It's actually 7:45. So I've got it. Main thing is I've managed to get the water boiled and the food nice and hot. So I'm just about to sort of tuck into that in a minute. And here is the meal. A Wayfarer meal. These are nice and easy because you can eat them hot or cold. So to be honest, I mean, although I got my jet boil working, had it not have worked, I could have had this cold. Whereas obviously a dehydrated meal, you're really stuffed. You're relying on your stove to actually work. But yeah, Hope it feels nice and hot, so I'm looking forward to this. You can see, hopefully, I think it's a Mexican bean stew. Not tried this one before, but I've tried sort of different varieties of the Wayfarer meals, and they are really, really good. They're very popular, and for really, really good reason. So let's just tuck in and enjoy it. And I think, to be honest, it is Saturday night after all. So I thought the very, very least I could do is have a beer. Those who have never tried this one before, Camden Pale Ale, you can find this pretty much everywhere. It's a really, really good beer. I remember I got my girlfriend Louise to try this sort of a few months ago. And, as soon as we tried one, that was it. She really, really loved it. So, cheers. Oh, that's much needed. A lot of hard work, sort of walking up here, getting it all ready. I can finally relax now. I'm not sure I've had quite enough water today, though. So I might find that beer goes straight to my head. I've got a little bit of Irish whiskey as well for after. So if this doesn't go to my head, that certainly will do. I've all got some lentils now. Yeah, it's an all veggie affair, this one. I'm actually trying to be good. I'm trying to cut down on the meat. Obviously, eat it from time to time. And if someone was there with a steak, I don't think I'd ever say no. But it's good to try and do your bit for the world. We all eat way too much meat. I mean, there's some people that have meat for breakfast, meat for lunch, meat for dinner. There's no reason to eat that much. I have got, though, beans and sausages for the morning. That will be good. That is dinner enjoyed. I just had a banana as well for dessert, and I've got one thing left, which is wrapped up here. This is a lovely little bakewell tart, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. So bakewell tart and beer, that's a pretty good combination in my opinion. Oh, it's a nice cold beer as well. And actually, you'd think that a cold beer, sort of on the 600 metres up in the Peak District, would be the wrong sort of drink. You'd think it'd be really, really cold. And yeah, if you stand around outside in the wind, it is pretty nippy. But actually in here, because you're out of the wind, it's actually not too bad at all. I might not be saying that in the middle of the night, but obviously I'm sat here in all my layers, but I'm not in a sleeping bag at the moment. So I actually think I'm probably going to be all right, actually, with the temperature. It won't be too bad at all. But the time now is 8:10. So actually I've ended up eating not pretty much about the same sort of time as I normally eat at home. But yeah, the plan is just to sort of chill out now. I can really just relax and enjoy the peace and quiet. And I've got a really, really good book, thanks to my sister Eleanor. Cheers out for this book here. I've always loved, actually, Simon Reeve's travel shows. I've been after this book for a while, and I've never really had a chance to sort of sit down and enjoy it. But this is a perfect place to go and do it, because there's not really an awful lot else to do. There's no view outside. It is pitch black. So I'm just going to kick back with the beer and enjoy this. Maybe have a little drop of whiskey as well. And yeah, just relax. I think this is what it's all about, isn't it? Just getting away from everything and chilling out. So the time has just gone, 10 o'clock, it's about 10 past 10, and I am properly tucked up now, as you can see, tucked up on in my bed for the night. I've got to say, I've actually stripped down a little bit. I've just got my sort of thermal base layer underneath here and my fleece, and at the moment I'm actually comfortably warm, not too bad at all. So I'm really hoping I'm going to get a good night's sleep. It should be pretty quiet at the moment. The wind seems to have died down a little bit in the last sort of half an hour or so. So, I mean, touch wood, it's going to stay that way. Could be famous last words, because maybe sort of the wind might come back sort of in the early hours, and I'll know all about it then. But yes, at the moment, it's great. I'm also hoping that I'm not going to get any visitors from any wild animals. I know the last time that I camped with Louise over in mid Wales, we had some pretty unwelcome guests, sort of a couple of mice that decided to take a fancy to some of the food that we'd left in our tent. And it was just, we'd scare them away, it'd all go quiet. 15 minutes later, you'd hear them come back again. And we got such a bad night's sleep that night. So hopefully it's going to be nice and quiet. I'll have none of those visitors. And I'll sleep through until my alarm, which I've set at about 6:30. And the plan then obviously is to get up and clear away, so that by the time there's if there is going to be a sunrise or a decent sunrise, my tent will be put away. So anybody up here at that sort of time, there'll be no evidence of me camping here then. And then hopefully if the fog's lifted a little bit, I'll enjoy the sunrise. Should be some amazing views from up here. But regardless, I'll take a little bit more footage. But here is to hopefully a lovely night's sleep. Good night. Good morning, everyone. It's just gone 6 in the morning, and you can see it's still pitch black outside. Not going to get light for another sort of good hour or so. What would it be in the middle of January still? But yeah, in terms of the quality of sleep last night, it wasn't quite as blissful as I was maybe hoping it would be. Certainly wasn't 8 hours of uninterrupted bliss. And I think a lot of that was due to the fact that it did get pretty nippy in here in the middle of the night. I can't blame that on the tent at all. It did get pretty blowy, and not once did I ever worry about this tent sort of toppling down on top of me in the middle of the night. So no, that was fine. The Thermarest mat that I'm sleeping on, really, really comfortable. It's been brilliant every single time I've used it, and yeah, this time no different at all. Still got the same amount of air that I put into it sort of over 8 hours ago. I think the main reason why I was a little bit cold was because of this sleeping bag. I mean, it's been pretty well used, but never really in conditions as cold as this. I've only ever really used it in bothies before, and I've always been sort of pretty near a fire, or quite near a fire when I've been there, so it's never really been that cold. I wouldn't say I was absolutely freezing last night. I certainly wasn't, and I did get a little bit of sleep. But yeah, I was never sort of comfortably warm. And I do think, yeah, if I sort of spend it's a good excuse to spend a bit more money. But if I sort of up my game a little bit in the sleeping bag territory and get myself a decent sort of winter bag, I think that'll probably make all the difference to the quality, to the quality of the experience camping out in the winter. But I think the plan of action now, before it gets light, is to warm the old cockles, as they say. So yeah, fully plan to get some coffee going, enjoy that. That'll warm me up. And then onto the beans and the cheesy loaves that I bought, the cheesy rolls, that I bought with me. They should go down very, very well because I am ravenous right now. Well, the sun is finally starting to come up. It's just gone 7:20. And as you can see, the amazing landscape around me is starting to reveal itself once again. And actually, it's really good to say that I can see quite a bit more this morning than I could last night. The fog seems to have lifted quite a bit. The sky's not clear, so I don't know if I'm going to see a particularly brilliant sunrise. But the wind, there's not even a breath of wind, just so different to last night, but certainly very, very welcomed. There is my home for last night. Almost looks cozy sitting there in the darkness. And I must say, for the last sort of 20 minutes or so, I've just been sitting outside the tent, just watching the sky get lighter and lighter. And it's just been absolutely beautiful. I can see why this wild camping is just so addictive. It's just amazing to be somewhere, in some ways, so remote, but also not a million miles away from civilization. All I can hear is just the odd bird, and that's about it. Absolutely amazing. All tidied away now, and hopefully no evidence at all that I was here last night. You are supposed to leave no trace at all when you wild camp, so I've given a good check of the area to make sure that there is no evidence that Daniel Ryan was here last night. So there is everything of mine packed away. Once again, it took me quite a long time, a bit longer than I planned, just over the hour to get everything back packed away. And I've got to say, Wonder Woman herself, Vanessa, she's actually already left. She went about 10 minutes ago. I went up to say good morning to her and she was just enjoying sort of, well, if you can call it a view, a foggy view. She was enjoying the view, just chilling out a little bit. And she hadn't even thought about tidying away. And then while I was still wrestling with my tent, trying to get it into the, I don't know, what seems like an impossibly tiny sort of package that it comes in, off she walked, just sort of said, nice to meet you. And she had it all done. So I'm just amazed at how quick she actually was. Just hopefully, the more I do this, the quicker I will get. But yeah, the plan is probably just to sit here for another 5 minutes or so and just enjoy the I don't know, the solitude and peace and quiet, and then sort of start heading back to the car. It is all downhill today because actually I did all of the climbing yesterday. You can see I'm properly up in the clouds here still. But I don't know if you can make out a path there. I might take that route down, but that's the route actually Vanessa was telling me she came up this way yesterday. And it is a little bit dicey, probably easy going up it than down. So I'm probably not going to go that way. The other route, I'd also planned to do like a circular, but that's quite long. And it's a bit later than I sort of planned. I'm leaving a bit later than I thought I would be. So I will probably just retrace my steps back down Jacob's Ladder because it is the most direct route, especially where I'm parked. So I reckon probably about an hour and a half's walk and I should be back. Probably fill up with water on the way down. But yeah, I must say it's been an amazing experience. My first solo wild camp, and it will be the first of many because it's just been, absolutely terrific. I could just keep saying that all day. So I guess this big lump down here needs to be picked up and moved. So I should probably get cracking. Off we go. Heading back now, you can see some of the scenery around me. Pretty amazing and still quite foggy. So it looks a little bit like, I don't know, Jurassic Park. We're sort of expecting a T-Rex to sort of come out from behind those rocks in a minute. A little bit boggy underfoot, but not too bad. Seen worse, definitely. So we're going to hook up with the main path and then start heading back. I know where I am. I've got to say, as much as I was on a main route, I still wasn't completely sure that it was the right one. But yeah, I remember this from yesterday. Never would you think that a pile of rubble would be such an attractive sight. Just see the guys just passed me as well. One of the first guys I've seen, and he says I'm about 10 minutes away from the top of Jacob's Ladder. So happy days, let's keep it going. So that is Edale down there. But such is the nature of the clouds today that 1 minute it's there, and the next minute it isn't. And a minute ago, I could actually see my path going all the way into the distance. But yeah, again, the clouds have come in again, and it's hidden from view. But I mean, it is a shame that I didn't get the sunrise this morning and the sunset last night. But I've seen other people make videos where they've said that actually the fog kind of adds to the, I don't know, it makes it really atmospheric, and I definitely agree with that. As I keep heading down, I'm a little bit concerned about, well, two things really, which are, first of all, the soles on my boots, because anybody who watched my review of the Scarpa Terra 2 boots, which I'm wearing, there they are, will know that they are brilliant, and they've been fantastic on this trip so far. Feet have stayed bone dry, but the one issue with them is that they don't offer the best grip when you're on rocky ground that's a bit wet. And to be honest, with all this fog, it does mean that everything is rather damp. So yeah, Jacob's Ladder is a steep climb. It's hard on the legs going up, but it's going to be tough on the soles of the shoes going down. And also, all the years of cycling that I've done and exercise, I don't know, I've left my knees a little bit fragile, and I do notice that when I'm doing sort of like prolonged like down hills, I get quite a bit of discomfort in my knees. So I'm hoping that they hold out as well. God, I really am making myself sound like an old man. Still the right side of 40 though, by a couple of years. So yeah, let's keep cracking on. Hopefully, we won't have a shot of me sort of like pulled up with a dodgy knee. Journey down Jacob's Ladder was all right, knee still intact, so pretty happy with that. And yeah, it was funny how at the top there wasn't a person in sight, and now it's a constant stream of people. But a popular place, and you understand why. Next stop, the car. I reckon it's about 10 minutes away. Whew, finally made it back to the car. Took a bit longer than the 10 minutes I planned from the last time I spoke, but I am not complaining because I just enjoyed the rest of the views before I obviously get back to the car, drive to the M1 and then hit the flatlands of Hertfordshire once more. So yeah, once again, been a great trip. I must be honest, the legs are pretty tired, so I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. And I think getting up for work tomorrow might be a little bit of a struggle, but I do not regret it at all. Just been a brilliant 24 hours. In fact, it is amazing actually. Just like it's not really been out that long, but it's amazing how you feel like you've achieved so much in such a short space of time when you're camping. So it's something I definitely recommend. If you're watching this and you've never done it before, I definitely recommend it. And I will say again, if you have just watched this video, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And yeah, hope I didn't ramble away too much about just utter nonsense. So yeah, it won't be long until I'm out on the road again. So hopefully you can join me for my next adventure. See you on the road.